locked. This is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. Truth bombs that many never knew. We talking politics, everything up to the moon. Was the landing real or fake? I guess you'll never know. Let's talk, this is the Nate and Garrett Show, yeah. So lend me your ear, let's get it poppin'. You know that we keep it live, non-stopping. Educating, entertain, there ain't no doubt. After you listen, you'll be thinking way outside the box. From media dishonesty, never let them play you. Keep it authentic nowadays, many can't do. Unfiltered is how we do it. Make sure you stay locked in and tuned in, let's go. Had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. The Nate and Garrett Show.
And now, welcome to the Nate and Garrett Show.
Prepare yourself.
Prepare yourself to be transported to the furthest reaches of reality. As the hosts unravel the mysteries of the universe, the depths of the deep state, the truth hidden in plain sight, all while bringing you the news from this week. Please welcome your hosts, Nate and Garrett.
Garrett.
Hey, Nate. Hey, everybody.
What's up, dude?
Well, another week, Nate.
Yep. Man, it
Another
goes fast.
Another week and way too much to cover.
Yeah.
Every time we get done with the show, every time something like big comes up in the news, I think, gosh dang, I wish we could have covered this last show. It'd be like Monday night or Tuesday morning or whatever. I think, gosh dang it, this would be great to cover. And then before I know it, I'm thinking, oh, it's forever before a show. And then here we are. It feels like it was yesterday since the last one.
Yep,
but
absolutely.
Every show we have these really cool topics and these really cool titles, and we never get done with them.
I know. We have so many things we end up not covering.
I lay awake thinking about the stuff that we've lost now that's out in the void of just old emails of really good show topics that we sent.
Yeah, it's
that
funny.
will be almost impossible to dig up.
Yeah, I know. Dude, someday when we're doing more than one show a week, we'll be able to cover some,
Yeah, we'll have to go back through our old stuff and try to find the timeless pieces out of it, really.
Yep. Yeah, but so many things end up being like, wow, this would be a great thing to talk about. And then 2 days later, it's not worth talking about anymore.
Yeah, something new came out.
Yeah.
Did you know which would have been a fun one is the astronauts of the all-girl crew going to space.
Yeah,
and just the fallout from that. There's been some hilarious fallout there, really.
Yeah, that whole thing is pretty funny.
They forget America's reaction to the submarine story of those rich people that went down to try to see Titanic.
Yeah.
People aren't very sympathetic to those guys. And one of them was a kid, and they died a terrible death. And they just think they're different because I don't get it. I think they misread the temperature right now in the United States.
Well, the funny thing also was that they were trying to pretend like they were astronauts.
Yeah. Yeah, they basically went in a vomit comet for about 4 minutes.
Right, but then they wanted to come out
and difference.
Yeah, they wanted to come out and make it this huge thing. Yeah. No one cared.
You could tell they had the speeches and sayings prepared, and they're like, well, we're just not taking up space, we're making space.
Yeah, what were they doing?
They think that's gonna be like the one small step for man speech.
Yeah,
but
that's so funny.
Yeah, and then Gail had a lot of just. Have you been to space? Doing one of those, acting like, no, Gail, I'm not super rich, so I can't spend a couple $1 million to go on a plane that touches space briefly and comes back down in about 12 minutes.
Right.
Sorry.
And also, Katy Perry was trying to say, I got in touch with the divine feminine.
She was gone for fucking 7 minutes.
Yeah. That was funny.
But also 7 minutes, brings a flower up there, a lily or whatever, gets her looking at herself and looking at the lily instead of Earth, I guess. And you know how far up they were, right? I know this isn't a topic we were going to talk about.
Yeah,
they weren't very far up.
I know
it is a recognized It is the recognized border of space because that's where like most of the atmosphere ends. But if you're talking like the International Space Station, which is low Earth orbit, which they have to put thrusters on there to blast it higher and higher because there's still some oxygen molecules and probably more like hydrogen stuff. There's still molecules that it's constantly running into, taking away a little bit of its momentum. So it starts to degrade a bit. If they didn't do that, it just crashed back down to Earth, basically. So, I mean, they're not even up in the deep space.
It would still be pulled back to Earth.
Yeah. So they're not even up to deep space where they're going to have like a, where it's going to be self-sustaining. So they're not even close to that even. And that's not even that high, really, when you're talking about how high space is.
Yeah. What they did is they went as technically into space as minimally possible. You know,
I think it's like 20 miles up. And I don't want to take it away. Well, I do want to take it away from them because they didn't do anything. They were just in this glorified plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it would have been cool to be in there, I suppose.
They tried to make it
like
too
in orbit.
Dramatic.
You know,
that's what I don't like about it. Yeah. I'm fine with them going. Good job, I guess. Yep. Whatever.
Yeah. They try to act like they did something.
Yeah. That's what I don't think they did anything. But one thing that got overlooked from this that I think is kind of great about it was when Jeff Bezos fell down.
Experience with you, and thank you for sharing how you feel out here with our audience. So it's been really, really incredible. So yeah.
That's actually the best part of this whole thing. I want to move my camera. It might have been in the way. We'll play it again. But, you know, it's also kind of like they were staging this where Bezos could walk around and welcome them back. You know?
He must have thought this was a really big moment and it was going to help his stock or something.
Yeah, I guess.
Not his literal stock, but his personal kind of perception.
Yeah, and that's what this is. It's kind of like a PR, you know, event for him. But anyway, here he is. He's welcoming them back at the shuttle.
With you, and thank you for sharing how you feel out here with our audience. So it's been really, really incredible. So yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing.
You probably saw it. They tried to have this thing where he goes and lets them out. And you could tell they just kind of forgot that part. And they let themselves out. And they're like, oh, shit. And they close it back up to let him come in.
Yeah, exactly. So like that is... Yeah, the door. They opened the door from the inside. But then they closed the door so that Jeff could open the door.
Man, there's some funny...
It's that kind of contrived shit that I hate.
There's some funny conspiracy theories about this because, you know, Katy Perry had her big tour afterwards, and it's not doing well. She's getting lambasted right now. If you type in Katy Perry, I'm sure a ton of these would come up. Type in Katy Perry real quick on X, see if anything comes up.
Okay.
So she's on tour, and it looks like super expensive and super cheap at the same time.
Okay.
You could put tour, maybe.
The Met Gala. I don't even know what that is, except just enough to hate it.
Put tour here. It's kind of crazy that nothing came up. That's not great for X's algorithm that didn't come up. Play this. So it's just
What is this? Hang on, let me full screen it. Hang on, let me turn up the volume. Okay.
This is their tour right now. It's not doing very well. It's not selling very well. You got to find some of the other choreography, and I'll show you.
I've never understood. I don't know any of this shit.
Yeah, go down a little bit. See if you can find. There's like her fighting some stuff, like a lightsaber almost. It sucks that. Sucks. Play this. Play this here. This can kind of get into the funny conspiracy. Look at those moves she's got.
This is the worst lightsaber fight I've ever seen. You know, Star Wars nerds in their backyard do a lot better than that.
Hey, you're right.
would be hard to fake enthusiasm on your 1000th show for this song, you know?
Yeah, can you imagine just having to try to keep that energy level up
Yeah,
constantly?
I feel like that would be really difficult.
She's got
as
a lightsaber.
performer.
She's fighting those things. The conspiracy was that she was supposed to be in like a astronaut outfit, and she was supposed to be fighting aliens, but they had to scrap that part because the blowback was so big on her. So they're like, okay, we got to change it. We got to keep some of this stuff. Let's have it be robots instead of aliens. And we got to find something that's not an astronaut. Because if you look in the background, there's like stars and the moon and stuff. It's definitely space themed.
But she's
got that lightsaber.
They wanted to
knew
distance themselves from the...
Yeah, because they're already getting lambasted because of that stupid space flight thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not doing well, by the way.
So to that point, she's not selling out her show, her tour.
Yeah, I don't think it's anywhere near right now.
You know, it kind of all looks to me like further fallout of the left. Like, I actually think celebrity worship is a leftist thing more than I ever thought it was.
100%.
Yeah. And like worshiping
Hollywood's been a huge leftist thing too, forever. And I think that's kind of a part of it. But there's something more there. This is a lack of a father figure in their lives, that they have these hero worship with these terrible human beings, or what?
Yeah, good question.
But you know, you talk about, like, you remember Beyonce. Everyone was like, oh God, during the election. Everyone's like, oh my God, is Beyonce going to come out for Kamala? And is she going to perform for Kamala?
Yeah.
And they're acting like she's the big guest. Like, oh my gosh, this is me crazy if Beyonce comes. And they're like, you remember the DNC kind of lied about it? Like the head of the DNC tweeted out like special guest.
Queen
Put a B. And then later said, they just did that just so people would tune in. They said, oh, sorry, my kid was messing with my phone and hit that B on accident. She's got a tour right now. And, you know, she was huge not that long ago, and they're nowhere near. They're empty. You go look at their shows, and there's nobody there.
Dude, you know, I kind of think like all of this melds together of like, I think that the veneer that was over these celebrities is really coming apart. And, you know, like P. Diddy, that put a pretty big damper on everybody thinking they're cool.
You know,
these rappers are all banging each other. Maybe the rappers aren't so cool.
Did you see like that Michael B. Jordan or whatever? You know, he's got that anti-white movie that just came out and stuff, and he's a woke guy. He's the first person that's named in the P. Diddy lawsuit. Just came out like yesterday or something like that.
I didn't see that. That's great. I hope
so. I think you're
onto
something
get their
there.
comeuppance.
It does seem to be during COVID when they did that whole Imagine song, whatever else is, that even seemed to hit the liberals. Everyone's locked inside, and you have these rich pretentious people that are in their kingdoms already. Singing Imagine.
Yeah, that was gross.
That really
I was offended by that.
What a stupid idea.
Yeah. Okay, so Hollywood's losing their ass. The mainstream media's losing its ass. All-time low ratings for CNN, like every month, you know. All these leftist organizations losing their ass. The Democrat Party losing its ass. Gonna lose every election from now on.
Speaking of, since you're bringing that up, did you see when they were talking to the Senate Minority Leader? What's his name from New York? And he's giving a speech basically about how Trump's approval rating's so low. Did you see this?
No.
And they brought up like, your approval rating is 13%. And he's like,
that's great.
Me? And they said, your approval rating is 13%. And he goes, polls come and go.
Yeah, but he's making.
Yeah, they did a whole big thing about Trump's approval ratings, and they're making the point that yours are way lower than Trump's.
Okay, so but as I was saying, all these leftist, the leftist pillars are all getting their asses kicked across the board. I think the American people are finally completely fed up, and I think a lot of the liberals are realizing, hey, we're actually not on the cool team. Our champions are all banging each other with baby oil and, you know, God knows what in all.
I think they blame them a bit for it too. I think a lot of them kind of blame them for not doing enough when Trump won too. I think they kind of like, also, you're just on the losing team. You're a loser.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's hard to come back from that
Right.
association.
I think that's kind of hitting home. And I think a lot of Americans that kind of were tricked are like, hey, this sucks. I'm going to
Did you see the new tariff, by the way? The new tariff Trump did today?
No.
100% of tariff on movies produced outside of the United States.
Oh, actually, I did see that, I think.
I don't know how you enforce that.
That's a weird tariff. So what?
I think it's a stupid thing, but I think it's funny just because it's a bunch of evil pedophiles that are going to be taking the brunt of it.
Well, my question is, if I want to watch a Bollywood movie, what? Now I have to pay $10 instead of $5? Like, how does that work?
But you know, it's kind of funny. It also shows the failure of leftist politics, because all these used to be made in Hollywood and, you know, California. And now even a ton of like California liberals that are into the movie making say they just can't do it. There's just too much restrictions.
I saw
and
that.
It costs too much just to walk across the parking lot, that they're all leaving the country to make movies in other countries.
It's like
there's way less restrictions.
It's way cheaper to make them in England. A lot of movies are being made in England.
And
also in like Texas and Florida and stuff.
It's kind of funny though. Like, how unself-aware can you be? You see that your stupid politics are ruining a once great state, and it makes it impossible to make a movie there, but you're still trying to push those stupid ass politics.
Yeah.
It's almost like the no true Scotsman thing, where it's just like, yeah, but communism's never been done right. They try to do that. Like, we've never really seen a communist. It's almost the same thing. Like, well, they're just not doing liberalism right.
Yeah.
We should try it somewhere else. Not in California, though.
I saw Newsom kind of trying to appeal to the film industry and saying, like, don't leave. We'll treat you guys better.
Interesting.
But, you know, whatever. I hope they do leave. I hope Hollywood dies altogether. It's just a horrible Satanist psychopath. And they haven't made a good movie in 20 years either. So,
you remember, it wasn't that long ago. We're talking even as long as like 5 years ago. The whole narrative was supposed to be like, conservatives are in so much trouble when the elderly population dies. That was it. They were so much trouble because the younger kids were getting more and more liberal. The only people holding the conservatives up were old people. And it's the opposite now. The boomers are basically what keeps the liberals alive now. And if it wasn't for the boomers, there would be 60-40 in the Senate, and the House would be just a catastrophe for the Democrats.
But isn't more boomers Republican than Democrat?
And not anymore. For whatever reason, the older are way more Democratic. It's the young crowd now that's becoming, especially young males.
Thank God.
Look at Canada. We look at the demographics of Canada. It's kind of funny because in Canada, you have to be a boomer to have a house, basically. And you're younger, you can't in Canada. Canada's fucked, by the way. But just kind of, it's almost like with this last election, they got one last adrenaline hit before they pass on. They're just thinking, you know what? Mark Carney hasn't lived in Canada for 10 years, and he's going to be terrible, but he's going to print a lot of money, and he's going to keep the immigrants coming in. So I get one more hit of dopamine with my house being worth $1.5 million that I bought for $50,000 instead of 1.2. And that last bit of money printing before I go out will just boost me up a little bit. Now I can get that gold-plated toilet. I don't care about my kids and my grandkids.
Yeah, who cares if all the younger generation can't buy
demographics. It basically was single white females. They're the bread and butter now of the Liberal Party. But it's got to be the older demographic voted more Kamala and less against Trump. And it's the younger crew now that's really going more and more red.
Good.
And I do think that it's something to do with this. I mean, movies suck. Nobody's going to movies anymore. Any influence they had is definitely going away. And that's really big, I think, because, I mean, that was way left.
Yeah.
I think a big part, too, the mainstream media is dying. You brought that up. And just the new media now, podcasts, long-form podcasts and everything, they're just getting their asses kicked. And I really think this goes back to liberal media. Basically, they carried the water for these guys so long that they just didn't flex that muscle, where they don't have to flex that muscle because everyone knows, history's on their side, that man in a dress is really biologically a female, but it's a man in a dress, And if you ask any questions about it, there's no answers. You're not going to get a good answer out of that. So they're just going to cancel you instead. They've had that on their side forever. So Republicans, however, had to do like the AM radio stuff. And, the liberals tried to break into AM radio and they failed miserably. But then you had like Rush Limbaugh making a huge name for himself, Sean Hannity, and I can go on. And it seems to be that has helped flex the muscle for the new kind of conservative / libertarian, that now that we have a more free, unfettered internet, that muscle is now already flexed, and it's just destroying the liberal part of this.
Well, the truth,
the mainstream media dying. We see Hollywood dying, and it's not being replaced because you just can't. You can't. There's a reason Kamala didn't do Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan is a Bernie bro. There's a reason she can't do it, because she can't talk for 3 hours and stand up for her beliefs.
Right.
She needs the Chris Cuomo's to do quick news clips and move on.
Yeah.
Trump's a racist. Move on. Trump's there's a father of 3 kids that he's deporting without due process. Move on. They're transphobic, and this girl that was unfortunately born a male just wants to be called her and just wants to go to school. Move on. That's just kind of boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
They can't do that in long form media. They say, wait a minute, that girl in a dress is Fallon Fox, and she's breaking females' orbital bones. Yeah. We got to back up on this one here.
Right. If you dig into their beliefs at all, they fall apart immediately because they're not the truth. Yep. Whereas if you dig into the truth of, if you dig into the truth, you can talk forever.
Yep. And now we're seeing too, I think, with that is like the woke. We say it all the time. They just eat themselves. And then now the Republican spears and in podcasting, a lot of the big influencers, they're not even political guys. Like Rogan's really not a political guy, but he's just more of a common sense type of person. And he just talks, and he kind of just leads you to know, like, okay, this isn't really a biological female. Whereas if you're going to be a liberal one, you have to still do their commandments. You still have to have a certain percent of your staff that, okay, we have to make sure part of them are black. We got to make sure some are from Mexico. We got to make sure that some of them are disabled. Yes. Yeah. And instead of finding out who's going to be the best at this, now we need to get, they can't just go to who's the best and bring them in. They have to just we saw this in the DNC when they were voting. They're saying, okay, on this vote, we have to do 1 non-binary, 2 females, and 1 male to get our quota. Like, who the fuck do you vote for at that point?
Yeah, we showed that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, it kind of fits, but I think we should get to our comments.
Let's get to our comments. We'll go start at the beginning. Boxbar says, Warner Brothers, Discovery, Sony Pictures, all moving to Las Vegas. Dude, did you know that? I didn't know that. That's awesome. That's interesting.
It's kind of funny it's like all these big companies incorporated into Delaware we've talked about, and now they're all going to Texas and stuff.
Yep.
And it's a lot of them are apolitical things. They just see like, oh shit, we got to get out of here. It's kind of the same thing. And the Silicon Valley, you think of as California, they're all going to Arizona and stuff. So they're not alone.
Dude, I love to see it. It's like, it's the consequences. Every country's going to leave these Democrat shitholes.
But you want to shake these guys. When Ben Stiller is sitting there and saying why they have to go to Europe to make a movie, and he knows how ridiculous it is. Like, don't you see that's your fault?
Yeah, no kidding.
You're the one that's doing this.
Yep. How funny, dude.
Yeah.
Jacob, although it didn't come up in this, I don't know why, but Jake said 100% Elon buying X fixed all this mess. Dude, great point.
Boy, that was
We've made that point many times.
That's a big one. That's the powder keg. That's the Archduke France getting shot or whatever his name was.
Yeah, I mean, allowing the truth to be told in the public realm.
Which Mark Carney now is, we have a clip of him basically threatening X. The EU's threatening X.
No kidding.
We're going to see more.
Watching that. Kenobi.
Man, it's a good thing Trump won, or else Elon would be just fucked.
Dude, everything worked out magically.
And then just think about that. If he's arrested, it greatly pushes back self-driving cars, which are going to be way better for the environment, save way more lives, give a ton of people without freedom, true, absolute freedom. And instead of worrying about you're too old and you can't drive or your eyesight's bad, whatever it is, you push a button in your car or in your phone, and there's gonna be a car right there that will bring you wherever you want to go. Doesn't have to be local because there's no driver. So you can say, I want to go to Canada, and it will bring you to Canada, and you don't have to worry about anything else. And that car then just goes wherever you're at, and it's going to do the rides there. They're going to be that numerous.
Not to mention the number of annual car wreck deaths is going to go from 80K a year to 0 eventually.
And robots that are going to be doing, I mean, we just go on and on about the good he's done, that the evil that is the Democrat Party wanted to get rid of.
Yeah, they're still trying to stop at every turn. Kenobi says, podcasts require you to have independent thinking, which liberals do not have. They all just repeat what they are told to say and fall in line, which leads to it being boring and not creative.
Yeah, that's a big part too, is like they have to wait for talking points. And you see this with Kamala when she was running. They tried to keep media away from her. But then she started to, at least the internal polls, the polls that we weren't privy to, because those other polls are basically propaganda. The internal polls showed her being in trouble. And then they started to give a little bit of access, but they had it very controlled. But you saw a lot where they'd ask a question. There was a California prop that was being voted on. It had something to do with transgenderism, I think, or whatever. But they asked her how she's going to vote. She's asking people to vote for her to be president.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
And she says,
I
can't answer that right now.
She wouldn't
knew that
tell
it
how
wasn't
she
going to be
voted,
popular. It wasn't going to be popular one way or the other. And what it really was? She just had to wait. She had to wait to see what she was supposed to be told.
Yeah.
And you see this with so much when Charlie Kirk does the what is a woman definition. Anytime you have to do that mental gymnastics that much, especially what should be a common sense thing, you're losing.
Yeah.
So they have their, and you can see if you
That's
go
like
to
the
the
core of their beliefs too.
Yes.
They have to do that on all their major things.
If you go to like the trans subreddits, they'll have discussion saying, what do you tell people when they say, what is a woman? And it's just
they're
hilarious.
trying to come up with an answer.
Yeah. And they're just all just nonsense.
You'll never get an answer to that. Because...
No, that one, that's why that one's so good.
Yeah.
That one is such a slam dunk because there's not a question. They all say, well, someone that identifies as female.
Yeah,
like,
they
that's
don't know
not how you work.
Yeah, how funny, dude. I absolutely love that question because it's such a fundamental thing. And it's like, okay, stand here and lie to me. And we'll all watch. We'll all watch you lie and not come up with a good answer. And that's what happens.
This might be a good time to just kind of get into one of the topics of the show, which is, so I think the money, that's a big thing too. They used to say the Republicans were just the rich people and they were buying this and the Russians were doing it. And you, whatever excuse you want to use, that turned out to all be very, very fake. Kamala had way more money from people donating. They proved that. They tried to say, well, that's because it's more the working class. Well, then they showed that she got more money from billionaires than Trump did.
Yeah.
So then they said, well, we're only going to take money from good billionaires.
Good billionaires.
Which a good billionaire is just someone that's going to give you money, of course.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money right now in the leftist sphere or whatever. So they started to, they saw this problem that, oh my God, we are the uncool club because we're canceling everybody. And this guy dressed as a girl isn't cool. Like they know that like a young male's not going to look at that going, oh, wow.
Yeah. What a
that
great.
guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I did fuck Tom Brady. I like this guy in a dress that smells real bad and has unkept hair, basically. So they knew there's a problem there. So they paid young influencers, and it was obviously that they're doing it. And who was the one that we used to show that video of him dancing? Do you remember him?
Who, Harry Sisson?
Yeah, Harry Sisson, his friend. And boy, they just picked bad. I mean, that is the most feminine male they could have found.
They can't find a masculine man.
No,
there
like
might
David
not be
Hogue.
one in the entire Democrat
Like
Party.
David Hogue, the guy's arms are like for real like this. You look at that. how do you not break your arm when you're going to take a drink of water there, Dave? It's
pretty great that they can only pick these dorks, dude.
And they try to do it, and they all try to like be like, oh yeah, this is look at Tim Walz, he's a manly man.
Yeah.
All while
that's
Tim
what they
Walz
came up with.
They're doing this the whole time.
Yeah,
you know,
Mr.
like,
Limp Wrist.
These guys don't even know what men look like.
I know. It's really funny.
Have no idea. And I'm going off too much on the diatribe, but anyway, they tried Harry Sisson and his friend, and it failed because Harry Sisson was I don't know, sexually harassing females, something. So he got canceled. So then Dean Withers and another one, I don't even know their names. They saw what Charlie Kirk was doing. For people that don't know, Charlie Kirk goes to like college campuses and just sits there and takes questions and stuff. And it was massively successful. He goes to battleground states a lot of times and does this just over and over. And he's drawing massive crowds. He's basically a rock star now, I think, on a lot of these college campuses. So they thought, why don't we have a tour that we call Unfuck America? We take all the best liberal influencers and we bring them to wherever Charlie Kirk is, and we do a counter one.
Okay, is that what it is? They were following Charlie Kirk around?
Kirk will have like thousands of people there, and they have a few people. And a lot of their influencers, if you go look them up, I mean, these are guys that are supposed to be big liberal influencers. They're getting paid to go do this. They have less followers than we do on X and stuff.
That's funny, dude. Yeah.
But just like how evil just eats itself, you just can't be woke enough. And they got a certain percent. There wasn't even enough. They didn't have a minority at the top of it, and they started getting eaten away.
Oh, I love it, dude. I love that the monster they created in their crowd will like call them out on stuff like that. Say, you're racist to the liberal. God, that's funny.
I'll let them tell us. I sent you some. So this goes deep, by the way. This was a hard one to research because they all came out with a live stream where they did a live stream of like all the background people that are setting this up. And they did it's like a 5 or 6 hour one. And they started all going through the head of this and saying that she was doing too much microaggressions. And then they started releasing stuff saying she was racist. And I guess in the background,
probably is.
I guess in the background, a bunch of the creators who are people of color were saying like, God, she's not racist, but she's got to get out of there. She got to leave. This is not helping her. But then this started a snowball, and those same creators later came out and said, she's racist. There's no doubt she's racist.
But who is she?
Turning on her.
You'll see. Is this chick here?
That's not a chick.
Okay, who is this?
Who does that look like to you?
I have no fucking idea who this kid is.
You know what? Let's play this one to start it out.
Okay.
This isn't a good spot to start, but it's kind of funny.
Let me see here.
This is Dean Withers.
Who's Dean Withers?
Oh, you're kidding.
While you guys are at home sitting on your asses, I just took a private jet out to LA with $1 million in this rental passenger seats in a Coach duffel bag. Couple grand in the lap. I'm about to go drop it at Louis Vuitton.
Congrats.
Living my dream life. What are you doing?
This is before he was grifting for the left. He acted like a millionaire entrepreneur. He was trying to sell
video
courses.
not even 2
Okay.
Go to the next one.
ago.
Here's him after the election. You don't recognize this guy? He was the big manly man. Go to X and type in Dean Withers.
I vaguely recognize this guy.
Yeah, he was the guy. This is the guy that goes and supposedly he's going to be poning all the conservatives, and he'll take his shirt off and he'll flex and stuff. We'll play this one. Okay. So before he was a liberal grifter, before he was a liberal grifter, he's a fake millionaire.
He looks like a little
there's a whole lot of new people that are tuning into the stream that probably didn't see the beginning of it. We're going to go over the Cliff Notes version for all of the new people that are joining us. I got kicked out of my brother's house. He turned my power off while I was on live. In live, walk out. Brother's like, get the hell out.
He starts asking for $10 here.
Dude, I've seen this video.
Okay, yeah.
At some point.
So we don't have to play much of this. It's just showing that his brother kicked him out.
And isn't he? So he's a huge liberal, and what? His brother's a
he's the new Harry Sisson, man. He's not just a nobody. He was the headline of the Unfuck America tour. Doesn't it go and get Charlie Kirk? But you should play. You should start at the beginning of this segment. You're kind of at the end of it.
Right here.
No, the videos. You're like in the middle towards the end
This is the beginning right here.
of this video, but you're in like the end of this.
Oh, okay.
Go left. This is a good place to start. Here is this guy was in the Unfuck America tour. So they have this big live where they talk to the main organizer. They start calling her racist. It seems like it's going to die down. And the next day, this guy makes this video, and it kind of causes everything to blow up. You play it. It's pretty funny.
Okay.
This video might get me into legal trouble, but you guys gave me a platform for a reason, and I'm not going to take that for granted fucking ever. Remember that. I know who gave me this platform. I'm on my way to Texas for the Unfuck America tour. Basically, they sponsored a trip for a bunch of us creators to go and fuck with Charlie Kirk at Texas A&M. And at first, I was a little apprehensive to take it because I don't like the Jubilee fucking, we're here to debate. I'm not going to platform conservatives.
You want to pause quick?
Like stupid bullshit, right?
Have you seen the Jubilee? Do you know what that is? So like, you've seen clips of it for sure. Like they'll sit down a conservative and they'll have a bunch of people out and there's like one chair and they run up and they can debate him and stuff. And then someone else takes the chair and they debate him. It's not just supposed to be a conservative. It's supposed to be anyone that has an opinion. But the Jubilee's coming out. You've definitely seen a lot of clips. They're kind of famous. But Jubilee's coming out now and saying like, we're having a whole lot of trouble getting liberals. We'd love if liberals would come because they basically said like, in there, like liberals are doing this thing where they want to control the questions asked and the debate topics. And the conservatives just don't care. They say, yep, I'll be there type of thing.
I mean, that makes so much sense for everything we've said up till now, you know?
Yeah, it fits a theme. And so this guy, of course, is against Jubilee because liberals get their ass kicked on Jubilee.
Yeah. Okay, is that what the point he's making here?
No. He just said that he doesn't like it.
I don't fucking like that shit. But a lot of my friends, people that I've grown to like on this app who are very intelligent, were going, and I was like, oh, wow, okay, cool, so maybe this is something completely different. I ended up signing on, right? Turns out the lead organizer, who was horrible at organizing, by the way, I want to point that out, had no clue, still have no clue what the fuck we're even going there to do. I actually have a whole other plan planned. I don't know what the fuck anybody else is doing, but I'm going there to do something actually dope as fuck. But anyway, the lead organizer, turns out she's incredibly racist. She hopped on a live last night where a bunch of black women, women creators on this app, who are obviously in the political space, were a little upset, voicing their concerns, talking about how they felt about the Unfuck America tour. And the lead organizer didn't like that very much, and so she hopped on there to spew, anti-black rhetoric, especially towards black women.
Anti-black rhetoric.
Do you think she was really on there to spew anti-black rhetoric
I'll
to
bet
a bunch
she
of
wasn't.
people that are working on her tour that she's putting together?
No shit. Yeah, I'm sure she just. Oh man, you can't be woke enough, dude. She must have said something slightly critical of anything they were doing. Had nothing to do with them being black. I'll bet.
It was 5 hours, so it was really hard to find any examples even. But I got a couple. But you get people here.
Should I keep this going?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, making them sound like bullies and aggressive and
oh, how dare she make them sound like bullies?
Really gross. It was really gross. There's no way you watch this and don't think she's racist, by the way. Like, I went into it going like, what happened? Is this you know what I mean? Like, I need to make sure what happened before I come and give any information to anybody, okay? There is no other way to interpret what she did. She was just being racist. Like telling them that because black women are involved, and how could it be problematic they didn't invite black women on this trip doing the thing that black women have been doing the best forever. I also want to point out, before she joined, they were being incredibly respectful from what I saw, okay? And even if they weren't, you're the fucking organizer for Unfuck America. You're the face of the brand. You're the one reaching out to creators. You reached out to me.
God, liberals suck, dude. This is hard to watch this whole thing.
Dude, you gotta finish it because it gets funny. Because he's obviously pandering to these black creators.
Yeah.
Because he's even saying like they're the best at it. They've been doing it the longest. They're the best.
Yeah.
They're better than me. He's even doing a bit of that.
Ugh. Okay.
It gets good here.
Who the fuck cares if someone has an opinion of Unfuck America that doesn't jive with whatever the fuck you think it is? I don't know that her views reflect that of the entirety
pause quick. Like, these guys know that they're supposed to be manly men, so they all try to act tough. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Harry Sisson tries to act tough, and Dean Withers tries that, and they try to act tough by like throwing F-bombs. Fuck this. Fuck. Fuck. I don't care. You know what? I'm gonna stand on my principles and tell you right now, I think black people are good. Ah, they try doing that. They take like
Dude, you're nailing that. That is what they're doing.
They take what's the least controversial opinion ever and say, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah,
You
I'll
want?
put my
Cancel
foot
me.
down.
You know what? Cancel me. I think slavery's bad. I think rape should be illegal.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
They just get loud and cuss when they say it.
And
they think
they know that they're lacking in this masculine way.
Yep.
And so they're overcorrecting in this way that's not masculine. But you're right. They're like, you can't make me not hate slavery.
yeah.
That's funny.
I'd like to see you try.
Yeah.
I'd like to see you try to do that.
Try, yeah. Yeah, it's just like when Harry Sisson, they were throwing those plates against the wall.
Yeah.
Acted all tough. They wrote like Trump
one.
on it and acted like they did some slam dunk there. Miggles.
Hey.
Miggles. You want to read this?
You're with Nate here. Nate can't finish it. But you haven't gotten to some of the best parts yet. But yeah, I know. It's just that's why no one listens to him, because they all are terrible.
All right, let me read it. It says, he is just painful to listen to. He struggles to get a coherent sentence out. And yeah, Gary, he's definitely swearing a ton to try to seem tough. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's a great point, dude, because we're going to we've been seeing this kind of thing for the last couple of years, and we'll keep seeing it. All the liberals are going to keep doing this. So I'm glad you pointed that out, dude.
Women's rights are human rights. You know, they're like trying to go to bat for these who they think are marginalized. And it's just the racism of low expectations. You know, women don't need you talking for them.
Yeah.
Black people don't need you to be telling them they're the best creators.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wave my arms around a lot when I do it. Now, I don't care. You guys are the ones gave me I could get in legal trouble for this, but you guys gave me the platform.
Dude, you've made a great call out here that we're going to be calling this out a lot, I think.
Over
I'm glad
and
you
over,
called it
yeah.
out. Okay, here we go.
The Unfuck America tour. So, personally, I have one gripe with one person, the person who organized this, who was the person who decided not to include a lot of black women on this trip. And I also think I can do her job better than her. So here's what I want you guys to do. Down below, tag your favorite BIPOC women creators. Okay? Tag them below.
BIPOC,
He's
right?
going to do it. He's got it. This guy's the hero.
You know what? Not your favorite creators. That's the thing, too. Not your favorite creators.
Not your favorite creators. Got to be BIPOC.
Your BIPOC favorite creators.
Because he's going to have the right ratio of races and stuff. I guarantee you.
Hey, why are you that racist that you just can't say tag your favorite creators? Are you afraid that the good creators are going to be BIPOC?
Yeah.
I think he's racist.
He's being racist.
I think he needs to look at his internalized racism.
Man, how much does he agree with you?
Yeah, very much so. If we'd ask him,
I'm going to look at my internalized racism, so you can't.
Because I should have said best, but there's too many Republicans out there that wouldn't agree.
This is great, though, because Unfuck America, the liberal tour, is splintering.
Name. Yes, even that name, Unfuck America. So they're trying to be tough about it. We're going to go out there and do the hard work. Unfuck America.
But, dude, how great is it that just like the Democrat Party splintering and the Democrats can't get a coherent thing going because they're so hateful. Even their like own the conservative podcast tour is splintering into different groups. That's hilarious.
They picked Tim Walz, not to be. They picked him to not. They knew that somebody at least had to know that like he's not a manly man. He wasn't gonna get the men vote. They just needed someone vanilla because Josh Shapiro was Jew, and that would have been too much for the pro-Palestine group.
Oh, yeah.
So that would have fractured them even more. So the one guy that potentially could have saved Kamala was Josh Shapiro, and they couldn't take him because he was Jewish, because they're the racists.
God, that's so true, dude. That's such an
he's the only
amazing thing.
You know, because he's got a really high favorability in Pennsylvania, and they thought whoever wins Pennsylvania for sure is going to win the presidency, especially if Kamala wins. If Kamala wins Pennsylvania, they told us there was zero chance for Trump. They had the guy that would have absolutely delivered them Pennsylvania. I think she probably would have won Pennsylvania if she picked him.
Dude,
I think she would have lost the election.
Yeah,
but she would have won Pennsylvania. The one
and
guy
that was their best shot anyway.
And he's Jewish, so they can't do it. And he's out there signing bombs and shit. He's so military industrial complex.
But dude, how perfect is that the Democrat Party ended up not picking him because he's Jewish?
Yep.
So they make this like racial decision discriminating against him. Yep. Yeah, but they'll do it. They'll do whatever they think, gives them the most power.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. They're just, I just think that's perfect. Kenobi says, we hate slavery, but support China. Then he says, from the looks from what I've seen of the far left women, unfuckable America would be more fitting. Unfuckable.
We talked about this too. The liberal men are very feminized and the liberal women are very masculinized.
Yeah.
You can almost guess someone's political leanings by using that equation.
You pointed out the liberal build when we were pointing out people keying Teslas and stuff. And dude, like a fat, sloppy, weak person. Probably
it's because if you go to the gym,
we got plenty on the Republican side.
We have the red shit. If you start going to the gym and get healthy, you vote more. You vote more red.
Yeah, I mean that's a fact. That's like a scientifically proven fact.
Man, I meant to bring it to the show and I didn't. There was a thread on X that got kind of big and it said, "What is your most?" It's for liberals. What's your most unwoke position? And somebody said like, liberals are so physically weak that if it came to a fight, they would be in trouble and we should fix that. And he got grilled. That's very ableist of you. That type of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's let
So we have a lot of these videos to show. So we probably don't have to finish this one.
Okay, I'm going to let him go on a little bit though.
Okay.
Video, and if you guys see this video, if you can make it to Texas A&M on April 22nd, right? April 22nd, let's all meet up. Let's all make some content together. Let's all grow.
So he's like leaving the tour. Okay, I love it. He's doing his own.
So this is another creator. Here's his side.
Too. This is great.
I think it's dead. I think it's officially gone now.
Okay. Hang on.
I can't hear him.
Live going over all this information, so I will try to keep it brief. Hey everyone, I just want to post a quick update about the Unfuck America tour. So many other creators have posted videos and gone live going over all this information, so I will try to keep it brief. A few days before the first stop at Texas A&M,
what was that?
The organizer of the tour used racist microaggressions on a TikTok live panel. One of the creators on the tour intentionally misled the rest of us into believing there was a consensus among the black creators on the tour not to address this publicly because it was being handled internally. Unfortunately, it's become clear that not only was this not being handled internally, but several additional serious issues and lies have come to light over the past 48 hours. Most of the creators, myself included, are no longer working with the National Ground Game PAC and will no longer be participating in the tour. However, that does not mean we're done fighting. What took place at Texas A&M last week was powerful. Creators from different races, ethnicities, ages...
Boy, there's a lot of powerful stuff happening.
There it is. You can't just say, we have these brilliant minds, these young brilliant minds. He had to bring up the sex and the race
multiple
of everybody.
Races. Yeah. Boy, you know what?
Which is funny because Trump won more of the ethnic vote than any Republican nominee, basically, ever.
Oh, yeah.
So it's so funny that they're trying to just keep going into this.
I love that they use the word powerful so much. It's often about not powerful things. Okay, here you go.
Ages, religions, genders, and sexual orientations showed up and showed out to combat misinformation and advocate for human rights and against fascism.
Why do people think you're such a dork? These things.
But look at this guy. Do you know anybody in your personal life that couldn't just throttle this guy if they had to?
Oh,
there's just not a drop of masculinity in any of these guys.
Right. But dude, and also like the things he just said there, like, oh, what a fun time. Wow. You know what I mean? It's just, it sounds so lame. I'm going to let him say it again.
No longer be participating in the tour. However, that does not mean we're done fighting. What took place at Texas A&M last week was powerful. Creators from different races, ethnicities, ages, religions, genders, and sexual orientations showed up and showed out to combat misinformation and advocate for human rights and against fascism.
Wow, what a great time. You know, like, oh, wow, I'm sure you guys did some big stuff.
So this was their big, they put a lot of money behind this too. And it did more harm than good, of course.
All right, let's move on.
All right, here's Charlie Kirk talking about it.
Okay.
on TikTok, the implosion of Unf America. I made a prediction of my team. I said, I think they're going to last maybe a couple weeks. No, like a couple of days. You know why? When you have woke principles of microaggression and policing of pronouns and, oh, I was offended, you can't build anything. You can't communicate. And this is exactly how I knew they were going to collapse. And it is a mockery. They're making fools of themselves. Look at Parker, the alpha male of the new Democrat Party that is going to bring men back to the left. Just get dressed down as this little, just like, okay, by this black woman who's like, well, you know, the first microaggression is you people. I mean, this is the state of the modern online left. This is why young men are moving to the right. And Parker's just like, oh, okay. Watch this.
Z came in a live full of a bunch of black women sharing their grievances with the tour based off what they saw on the website or what has been promoted as, right? And the first thing she did when she came on there was to say, I know you guys aren't educated on, like, clearly they're speaking about politics. They know what they're talking about. So what makes you feel like they don't, like, for you to say they're uneducated? One, that was the first microaggression. Two, he was very hard on saying you people. And whenever somebody says you people, it's just, you just know where it's coming from. Like, you just know deep down, you just know where it's coming from. So
there's so many things you can't say.
Yeah.
How great is
the way she was like addressing the women, she was addressing them as if they were uneducated.
You don't have to watch the whole thing.
Okay.
But you get what she's saying. And I have a couple of the microaggressions, but that's the other one is him and Dean Withers, where the main gets.
This is really funny, dude.
Our first guy is mad that there are two white guys, even though he's white.
Oh yeah.
So
that's their first crime, being white. Like,
oh, this one's great. This is another one.
Okay.
This one's my favorite, I think. By the way,
I don't know who any of these people are.
Look at his books back
I'm happy
there.
about that.
Lords of Finance. You know he thought, like, what books we're going to put behind me. He's got Lords of Finance because liberals are just known for being so economically ignorant. And if you look at the one on his left, you have, like, women right there.
Oh, yeah. All right, here we go.
I'm making this video at risk of getting severely canceled.
Pause.
I built my
What a brave
boy. He's so tough.
Yeah.
God, he's such an alpha male.
Yeah.
It's so
Try
funny
to stop him.
You know what? Us guys on the left, we're just so truthful. We're the ones getting canceled.
Yeah.
You know, these guys, us leftists are just always getting canceled, apparently.
Yeah. Because I'll say anything to stand up for the truth.
entire platform on standing up for what I think is right, even if I'm standing alone. And right now,
what a badass.
It feels like I'm standing alone, and I'm pretty nervous to release this. I was on the Unfuck America tour, and I see a lot of creators talking about what happened. And I have seen a lot of half-truths, misinformation, and now dangerous allegations, including fraud.
Hang on, there's one more. It's the word dangerous. They love the word dangerous, bro.
So I wrote a detailed Substack article, and it includes screenshots of our private group conversation. And if you're a creator that's making these videos and lives dragging Z through the mud, I just want to let you know I redacted everybody's information. I am not here to drag anybody else through the mud. I am here to fucking end this so that we can finally focus on fighting fascism, which was the original intent. I do not believe that Z.
This is great, though,
is a racist. Well, not any more racist than any other progressive white person trying to unlearn the system in which they were raised in.
Oh my God, he had to make that distinction? Holy shit.
He has to atone, Click. He's got to atone there first.
Well, he can't say that a white
of all of it.
He can't say a white person's not racist. Of course, every single white person has to be racist. Holy shit, that is epic right there.
He had to do his penance before it was over.
Yeah. Well, let's let him do
this
it.
This is a religion to these people. It really is, and that just proves it. That's this like the death. His original sin was being born white.
Yeah.
If anybody else is white, he's got it quick. It's like the Christian entering church making the sign of the cross. He's got to do, other than any other white people, of course.
He's as racist as every single white person, of course.
Yes.
intent.
Let's let him do it again.
I do not believe that Z. Cohen Sanchez is a racist. Well, not any more racist than any other progressive white person trying to unlearn the system in which they were raised in. If you,
oh, how great is that? But these are the guys that think they're gonna win over the young crowd.
Yeah. What the hell, dude? Whatever.
you care about facts and making an educated decision with receipts, the link is in the link tree in my bio.
I'm good. Probably not gonna go read your Substack.
All right, here is a couple clips. This is a 4 or 5 hour thing. So I tried to find some clips, but this guy is going to tell you that you're racist, and then he's going to show you the microaggressions that she said. They're pretty funny. What people are they're throwing, like, this thing was hundreds of thousands of dollars that was given to them or from whoever. And it was supposed to be this big anti-Charlie Kirk thing, and it was taken down by, this is the live stream that took it down.
Okay.
And they even admit they're microaggressions. But this person's first going to tell you that you're racist.
I can't wait.
And then get into the
If I'm being honest, I think all white people are inherently racist, but on that live, Z was not being racist.
So this guy's actually defending Z.
I know, it's just as soon as I came down on the panel, you already were going crazy at me, but okay. Well, I do think that this live is antagonistic. But anyway, I'm just going to say my piece and I'm going to drop.
Oh, it can't be.
Invalidate and dismissive their concerns as simply being antagonistic.
I love
it's a
that
microaggression.
You know, and they're saying she's racist.
Yes, she's ruining this lady's life. I mean, she deserves it. But anyway, they're ruining her life over this.
Working on this, because this is not easy. You think that getting 50 plus people to another state to do this is easy? Because it's not.
Assumption of incompetence or inexperience. That was what really pissed them off. When she's basically saying, it's my job to get these 50 people here. You guys don't know how hard it is. And they're just like, what do you think? We don't know how hard. Is it because we're black?
Wow, dude. That's such a stretch by them, you know? It's like, you know, if you want to take offense and misconstrue anything someone says, you can do it. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
You assuming, Julie, you assuming that it's in bad faith.
What is going on?
Wait, I don't let people talk over me either. And I see that that's what you do, that you try to bully people.
Exactly.
Being dismissive as combative.
I don't know why you have an issue with me, because I don't know who you are. But it seems like you already have a particular bias going on here.
I also want to note as well, I wasn't open to critique. That's what I'm not understanding, the tokenization
your response
part.
Was
but
that.
Julie, the reason why was because the first time I ever saw you was you yelling at Hannah. So I assumed.
So wait a minute, do you not know the context for that?
Automatically assuming hostility. Angry black woman.
Wow.
She never said that. She just
I
said,
know.
You were yelling at this other person.
I love that she's being called racist, you know, because
Yeah,
she's a liberal and that's
Couldn't
what they
happen
do.
to a better person.
Yep. So, you know, which, by the way, that's something that I've said for a long time, is that the liberal white women, who I assume Z is a white woman, I guess, you know.
You'll see. I got a video of her. Yeah.
The liberal white women who have been trying so hard to be allies, and, you know, I always said they'll eventually get turned on, you know, because they can't ever be woke enough, basically.
Yep. That's what we're seeing here for anybody.
Yeah. Nobody could ever be woke enough. This is great, though.
I would like to say that I was one of the people who have been specifically saying that this is severely disorganized. And that's when you came in and you said that. You don't know what you're talking about.
Assuming inferiority, despite her mentions of her own organizing experience.
Yeah, they make it a race thing. Every single thing she said was just a racist thing against black people. It had nothing to do with
next
anything
one
else. That's great.
I made quick for the show, but basically I went to her TikTok. This is her. This is the famous Z.
Okay.
And I went to the comments. This is her video a little bit ago, just talking about how great the Unfuck America tour is and how Charlie Kirk is screwed because of this. And then I just go to the comments, like 1,600 of them, and they're hilarious.
It's the day after the Unfuck America tour launch, and I'm back home in my small community in rural Nevada, and I
just needed to put a face in the racism. Z, white woman to white woman. You still need to do work. How about that? Z,
Yeah.
I'm a white
I'm
woman.
white.
And
Yeah.
so I can talk to you as a white woman. The defensiveness and inability to decenter yourself shows you have room for growth. I suggest reading Dear White Woman. It's a very powerful book. There's your word, Nate.
Yeah.
Please step back and do better. You look racist, to be honest.
Dude, how great is this? Because she is going to think, she's going to be hit with being racist, and she's going to think, I'm being unfairly accused of being racist. Of course, then she'll probably, liberal herself and say, actually, maybe I am internally
she's
racist.
got two choices. She goes way more woke, and she makes a groveling video saying, I read Dear White Woman.
That's what I think will happen.
I'm racist, but we all are.
I shouldn't have used those microaggressions.
I'm racist, but so is everyone else, but so am I, and I'm working on it. Or she eats a little healthier. She gets off her SSRIs and says, fuck these people. Maybe these other young kids are onto something.
Yeah,
And
maybe
she's
I
pushed
was
to the
wrong
right.
for 10 years when I was, beating that drum.
Yeah.
Kenobi says the problem with liberals is they will always eat their own. Yeah.
It's just so
Which
funny
is
because
so great.
the high fantasy books and stuff, it's almost like a saying too, that the evil just collapses on itself. And we can see this here.
We've said that a bunch over the years. And I mean, I really do believe that's like a law of the universe, that evil will eat itself and turn on itself and shit.
It seems like it. Yeah.
I'm just sitting here thinking about what just happened.
Pause again. Way to destroy something that could have been so beneficial because of your racism.
She didn't even do anything racist.
Have you
dude.
addressed the microaggressions down towards the black women on the live video? Congrats on destroying a massive opportunity to show unity.
Dude, I saw a video a couple years ago, and it was a black woman, and someone at her work said to her, like, oh, I love your hair. She said, oh, you have great hair today. And the black woman said, that's a microaggression, Sheila. Don't always compliment my hair. It makes me uncomfortable. And I think it's racist. And, Sheila was like, I say nice hair to everyone when I like their hair. She said, no, it's because I'm a black woman or whatever. And it's like, holy shit. If given a compliment is a microaggression, then the world's going to get pretty cold pretty quick.
There was a Reddit post where a lady, she's like, I'm the only female, a group of 7 males, and they made an inappropriate joke. They're talking to themselves, by the way, in a break room. So she goes to HR and reports it to HR. So they basically say hi and bye.
Yeah.
And they give her own space. And she's asking Reddit if she should go to HR and report this, because obviously they're ignoring her and they're not treating her right because of it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
It's the same thing, really, there.
Yeah. And HR is going to come to those guys and say, you have to tell one appropriate joke to Margaret, every Tuesday.
And it can't be, you have to do it in the right tone, too.
Yeah, exactly. You have to mean it. Oh. How funny, dude.
And if this is the first time you're seeing me, my name's Z. I'm a political operative, and I'm the leading organizer.
So let's just address the racism and get to the point. So this is her.
Behind the
you can
Unfuck
hear in
America
the background,
tour.
she's just
But it
talking
wasn't
about how great the tour was and how dumb Republicans are.
And it lasted, what, one day? It lasted 2 days? This is too funny, dude.
just me. It's my incredible team who somehow pulled this off in 3 weeks.
What you did was wrong.
Which still completely, absolutely blows my mind.
People like this make leftist movements more difficult. Dude, can you imagine being a leftist and trying to organize something?
No, yeah. I mean, her life is probably way worse off. Did you see the comment talking about, go back to those comments again really quick. What's that one mean? Someone said, I guess looking at Z, Parker, and Dean reconnecting with their ancestors. What the fuck does that even mean?
I was saying she's being a white racist like her ancestors.
It's so hilarious that they're bringing Parker and Dean into this.
Oh, yeah, because they're white too, see?
Aggressive.
They shouldn't be white if they wanted to. Yeah.
But I want you guys to understand something. For 15 years, Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA have dominated our college campuses. And finally, there were...
Are you still Zionist? This is too good.
So
See
you
if Charlie will hire you.
Yeah, she just I cut it off in the middle because she's just yapping about just crazy shit. So there's Dean. There's him before.
So this kid is a Harry Sisson type dork.
Basically. Yeah. Him and Harry were friends. He turned on Harry when came out. Harry got Me Too'd.
Oh, nice. I'm sure he threw Harry under the bus as quick as he could.
Yeah.
Boxer says, if everything is racist, then nothing is.
Yeah, that's a great
Become the
point.
boy who cried wolf. It's
They're
lost
really
its luster.
doing such a disservice to people that are actually experiencing racism.
Absolutely.
Such a disservice.
Dude, for sure. If
It's
you
just
know,
like-
if saying nice hair is racist, then you know what isn't racist?
It's just like there was that NFL guy that hit the quarterback in the head with his helmet, and he was getting kicked out of the league. So he lied and said, well, he called me an N-word.
Oh yeah.
And you just see like that is another example of it too. Like you're seeing what there's other people trying to use that as a get out of jail free card now. And it's just ruining it for people that are really experiencing racism.
Yep. And you know, that's obviously how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Garrett, it's already been an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. What do you want to do?
I almost think we should move on to something else.
Okay.
Real quick.
We're about there anyway, really.
Yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about the Unfuck America tour?
Nope. Maybe go. Do you know what? We talked about Harry Sisson getting canceled. We haven't talked about it a whole lot, but who was it? Destiny. He was the other up and coming guy that they tried to be like, here's a masculine young guy. Well, it turns out that he was blowing Republican influencers at the same time.
Yeah, he was actually giving out BJs. Here was the leftist. They found the leftist masculine guy.
But also, he's a
sucking dudes
cuck.
off. Yeah.
And his wife leaves him eventually.
He's
So they had to
also-
throw him to the side.
Well, he's also a piece of shit, and he
Oh,
was
yeah,
was sharing nudes, you
Yep.
know, like doing revenge porn
Yep,
against.
he did the
girls.
revenge porn thing.
Dude,
And
that's
so
another thing
that's
about
why
these
a guy
leftists,
came
dude.
out basically did revenge porn against him.
Oh
because he-
yeah, but dude, that's another thing about these leftists. It's just like Harry Sisson. I'm
Yeah.
sure Harry Sisson has tons of videos about,
Feminism.
or we gotta fight for women and treat them right. You know, let's be, you know, they're nice guys
Yeah,
who
you're right.
actually hate women and treat them like shit, but they'll
But they think they're
fake
gonna-
virtue signal.
Yeah, they're going to get virtue signal their way in with women, basically.
Yeah, and then they're fucking, you know, mistreating
Obviously,
them.
creeps.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're actual pieces of shit.
Yep.
But you know, they're saying the opposite. So yuck. And
Yep.
Destiny was like that. You
Yep,
know, what a
Destiny was like
loser.
that. And he acted like the toughest one. He did this thing where he'd talk over you and act like I'll kick your ass type of thing. And at the same time, he's blowing
dweeb.
dudes. And then we have Ethan Klein. Have you seen the downfall of him?
Yeah, I feel bad for him because
Yeah, look at
he's
this
have
one. I mean,
some-
like he's lost a ton. Like he used to be super fat and
he definitely
disgusting.
has some kind of medical thing going on. I don't know what it is, but it
you can
doesn't
play
look
this. You just see he's not. And I think they're trying to say it's Tourette's, but at the same time, nobody saw him twitching when he was 100 pounds heavier 3 months ago or whatever.
So here's the other thing. Like Ethan Klein's been a big YouTuber guy for a long
Mhm.
time. I think he lost a lot of popularity in the last few years, but I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know
Yep.
if that's true or not. But he's a leftist.
Yeah, he's another piece of shit.
Yeah, but he's also Jewish. And so when this leftist start hating the Jews thing happened, Ethan
Yeah.
didn't join in with them. Ethan said, "Hey, we need to defend Israel like we all like is kind of a part of our creed of like the never again, and you know the Jews are a persecuted minority."
You know, in this clip, which this isn't the point of the clip because he's just making movements, but I think he's debating Hassan. He hates Hassan now because Hassan is kind of anti-Israel.
Right, Hassan's
You're
like
right.
super
it's a
anti-Israel. I don't know anything about Hassan except from this shit.
Yeah.
He's like a leftist guy, but he's on the other side of this issue.
It's kind of funny because 85% of American Jews vote Democrat. But at the same time, Republicans just bow down and try to blow Israel for some reason. It's a really weird thing that happens there, for sure. And they try to like play to the Christianity of Israel, where at the same time before this happened, this terrorist attack, they were spitting on Christians that were going to Israel to go to the pilgrimage. We showed videos of that in the past, I believe.
Right.
But now it's all about, oh, hey, our Christian brothers.
Yeah, I don't think there's any kind of, the Jews and the Christians, there's this idea that we're, in the same religion, and we're not in the same religion.
No. The Talmud, where's the Talmud say Jesus is right now?
Yeah, burning in hell, covered in shit or something like that. Yeah. So, all right, anyway, here's this.
Do I think that you are more anti-Semitic than Candace Owens?
I don't know why this website is so quiet, but okay, I'm going to keep it going.
Are more anti-Semitic than Candace Owens? No. But I think your form of anti-Semitism is way more destructive and sinister. Candace Owens is outright. Hold on there, Hassan. This is an important question.
Do you think I'm anti-Semitic now? Because 2 days
I'm
ago
going to
you said
answer.
I wasn't.
I'm going to answer.
Okay.
Damn, so I feel bad for Ethan Klein, dude.
Yeah, I don't. He's a terrible person.
Yeah.
Is way more insidious because it's silent, it's tricky. She's out there just saying what she believes, and I respect her for that.
Yeah, but he might have some kind of,
They're saying
MS
it's Tourette's,
or
but the thing
Parkinson's
is,
or
it's
something.
gotta be. Yeah, you're probably right. I just figured this would be drug fueled or whatever. Speaking of Jews, did you see this story?
Yeah, I did. What's going on with this?
I don't actually know, but what I hate more than anything, and we've talked about a lot of people I hate right now. I hate the media more. I hate reporters so bad. I really think when we were talking about doing the show way back, one of my main things was we talked about like, it was a dangerous time for us to start it, saying like, God, do we really want to put ourselves up against this? But part of me was, I hated the media so bad. I said, we've got to show how bad media is in the U.S.
Yeah.
That was kind of one of my goals. And we've showed Portnoy in the bad media before, remember, on a different show?
Yep.
He was trying to do basically a food festival, trying to save
millions of
local
dollars for small businesses. Yep.
And they attacked him because he's a straight male that has a lot of money. Well, this one, I guess he owns a bar, and somebody had a sign saying, what was it again? I hate Jews or something like that.
Fuck the Jews, I think.
Fuck the Jews.
Yeah.
And it started to make a little bit of national news. So ABC used that to weasel into an interview. Play it out. The rest will speak for itself.
Okay. Hang on.
I first of all, what time is it? It is 7:15. I'm out here in beautiful Scottsdale for the Bet Gala tonight, and obviously this thing at the bar, the fuck the Jews sign, the anti-Semitic sign at my bar, still going. So all press being like, will you talk about it? Yeah, I'll fucking talk about it. So ABC News, Philadelphia, they reach out. They beg me to do an interview. They give me the reporter's name. It's some reporter, and then they do a bait and switch. And a new reporter shows up to do it this morning. She starts like, okay, fine enough, asking questions about the bar, how did it happen, responsibility, blah, blah, blah. And then she shifts. And then she does what a media scumbag does. She's attacking. Like, well, she pulls a quote out of her ass from like, I don't even know, a made-up journal, some professor at like the Sportocratic University of something. It's like they say that Barstool Sports creates a culture of harassment and that basically I'm responsible for this happening at my own bar. I never heard the quote. Oh, you're saying some fucking liberal college professor said they don't like Barstool? So I was like, well, who fucking said it? And what is this even journal? We go back and forth. Austin, who's here, started taping it. This fucking piece of shit. Let me put it in right now. Here's who I would say is causing that type of environment. All these colleges who let Jewish kids get harassed on campus 24/7. I've been speaking out about this since it started. So these professors, I'd love to know. First of all, that sounds like a made-up thing. I don't know what that quote is. The Society of Sport. Where are the professors from? Where are the professors from? Well, why don't you answer where are the professors from? Well, no, you're quoting two people I have no idea who they are from a made-up journal. So tell me where the professors are from. Okay, so no, that's a real university. I'd like to know where they're getting their information. I don't like quotes that I have no idea where they're coming from. I totally disagree for what you just said. Who's creating more hate right now in the world? Would you say Barstool Sports and white men or college campuses?
Okay, I want to pause that because I like that point he made about where's more hate towards Jews happening, at random bars or at college campuses. Yeah. And I mean, it's rampant on college campuses. It's such a funny thing going on, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
No, that was a question to you. I'm the journalist. I'm asking. Well, I don't play by those rules. What does that mean? You're a journalist? I'm a journalist. I run a big media organization. I just asked you a question. No, I asked you a question. You answer the question. You answer the question. You're not running this interview. All right, then the interview's over.
You know what's I've noticed too? Trump. They try to do this to Trump, and he'll ask him a question and be like, "I'm interviewing you." Like it's a power dynamic that these fucking really low IQ journalists think like, no, the power dynamic is me asking you questions. And they'll say, I'm the one giving you the interview. I mean, we've showed that over and over. And that's kind of what he does. He's like, what the hell am I talking to you for?
Dude, then? I think he made the point you're making super well. Not only that, he is a journalist. You know, we made this point last time of everybody's press, everybody's freedom of press. Not only that, how many people are going to watch what he put out, and how many people are going to read her stupid article?
Barstool Sports is worth more than ABC at this point. I'm almost sure,
dude. Or if it's not, it's getting close.
It should be.
Talk to me in 5 years.
I bet it is more valuable if we would go look it up.
Yeah, and so tons of people are going to watch what he just put out. Nobody's going to see her stupid hit piece, lie article. And then on top of it, she tried to do the power dynamic of, like, oh, you think you're in control of this interview? I'm running the interview.
You're stalling, she said to him.
I think he made it pretty clear that actually he is in control of the interview. You want to
You're
talk
the one
to
begging him.
Yeah. He doesn't want to talk to you necessarily.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think he made all of that very clear.
But he did a good job here at the end, just lambasting them for the next 30 seconds. It was probably worth playing out.
She's like, you can't ask me questions. I'm a journalist. You ambushed me with a made-up fucking quote from a made-up fucking, fucking journal from two professors, I guess, at Virginia. Let me ask you this. Where do you think more hate is happening? At fucking Barstool Sports or college campuses across this fucking country? This piece of shit, ABC, the person who set it up, gave me one reporter, bait and switch to the other. Fuck ABC.
There's no answer.
There's
no answer to that question anyway. These professors say that you're hateful. Basically, what they're saying. It's just like, Nate, do you still beat your wife? Where you say yes, you're basically acknowledging you beat her. And if you say no, you acknowledge that you used to. It's a no-win question they're asking him. It's a terrible question of a reporter to ask if they know anything about reporting. Yeah. You know what? So I do got to show, though. We have a quick one. Since I'm saying how much I hate journalists and everything, I have an example of a good reporter. This is what journalism is supposed to be. You're supposed to be the mouthpiece. You're supposed to be the watchdog for the people against our ruling overlord class. So go to the next video.
Okay, I will, but let me read Kenobi's comment first because he makes a point about when he was getting attacked by that other reporter. Tanobi says he had a reporter calling his sponsors and donors for the fundraiser, and she was telling them he was a rapist and to pull their money into their. Do you remember that? That was part of it.
And she said, "Well, I had to be provocative." That's what she said. I had to be provocative to get through.
Yeah, and she denied it at first. When he first brought it up, she said, "No, I didn't." He said, "I have the emails right here," and she said, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that one."
Just that one. I had to be provocative.
Yeah,
I had to call you. You understand? I had to call you a rapist just to get my interview.
Yeah. Holy shit. Is this the video?
This yeah, it's not American media, of course. So even though the British males are fine with their young girls getting raped and all of that, apparently somebody there has a spine. I think we found him.
When's the dedicated national statutory inquiry into the rape gangs coming?
There is already an inquiry into what's happening.
There are 4 local inquiries, some of which are being held in areas that didn't have rape gangs. When are you going to stop the boats?
There is a policy for dealing with the gangs who organise illegal migration.
And the numbers are surging. When's net migration going to dramatically come down to below 100,000?
What is happening as
Wow, he's asking pointed questions.
This? Yeah, he's making these guys trying to say like, well, we already have stuff in place. Well, it's getting worse. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, when is the number gonna be below this number? You know?
You've made the point. Everywhere in Western Europe,
but you see everything I'm saying,
exactly
Jeff,
the same problem.
Jeff,
this is not peculiar to the United Kingdom.
The U.S. is not.
You're lying everywhere.
He's trying to say that's what they wanted. That's when Biden was in and Kamala's in. That's why they're letting in how many millions of migrants. They can say it's happening everywhere. It's climate change. It's COVID. It's Trump letting COVID go crazy. It's happening everywhere. We can't
stop it. It's a natural thing. We couldn't.
But now it's stopped. It's stopped now.
Yep. Dude, you know, the young people in England should be murderously angry at the old assholes who have sold them out.
Legit. Bring out the guillotines there for real.
Absolutely.
And they need to start with the crown, and they need to just work their way down.
Yep. And just
they have a House of Lords. Did you know that? They have a House of Lords with like hundreds and hundreds of members just based off their birth, and they're basically like congressmen because of how they're born, and they're fine with this.
Dude, their country sucks.
Yeah.
They don't have the freedom of speech. They're paying for TV licenses. They're getting arrested for silent prayer. Whatever.
Taking issue with is your reaction, which is the same reaction that led people to say the people that voted for Donald Trump were the deplorables, that the Brexit voters were loons and racists. Do you understand that that reaction is exactly why millions of people are rebelling against the establishment?
I certainly understand that people feel very strongly about the issues you've mentioned.
So are they extremists? Are Reform voters extremists?
I've conceded that.
Are Reform voters extremists?
The people who vote for Reform are not extremists.
But Nigel Farage is an extremist.
But the policies of Reform, which was a question I was asked, are extremist.
Dude,
how good is that? He just moves from boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
We don't have it. Like, nobody would dare do that to Biden. You know, nobody would dare do that to him. And it's because they didn't want to. That they knew that he couldn't hold up to that. He'd be talking about how we beat Medicare and stuff. And they'd have to go and edit it out to make it look like we beat people trying to stop Medicare. You know, our media was carrying the water for him. Because we didn't have a single actual journalist that had any access to him for 4 years.
Dude,
everyone was fine with that.
It's been that way for 40 years.
Yeah,
you know,
you're right. Forever. I mean,
our journalists haven't asked a pointed question in 40 years.
But Biden is no different than John McCain, who's no different from Barack Obama, who's no different than Bush, who's no different than Clinton. Like, because of the media, we've had these giant losers ahead of things for a very long time.
Right, and that's why shit kept getting worse and worse and worse, and and England is going to find that out. I think they're finding out how terrible shit is.
Now that USAID is cut off and U.S. is putting tariffs on this stuff, we're going to find out that a lot of these countries were living off of the middle-class Americans' taxpayer dollars. And we're going to find out just how much pretty soon here.
And I think it's going to be quick. I think it's going to be quick. I think all these countries are suddenly going to be in crisis.
You know what? We've seen OPEC. Everyone, I think, knows what OPEC is. They're the oil-producing countries. They get together and basically have that conglomerate where they say, we're each going to release X amount of barrels a day. Yeah. Well, they thought that some countries were secretly doing more realistically, they know that Trump is drill baby drill, and they see that that Tesla's battery packs and all that are gonna. Oil's days are gonna be the days of the whole like worried about peak oil are basically over, and so now they're starting to freak out a bit. And just today they announced that they're going to release millions more a day, way more than people thought. So the oil prices are coming way down.
Nice.
And they basically made it sound like this is just the beginning. That's going to hurt Russia. It's probably going to end that war. This is going to kill Canada. Canada's fucked. And this is going to lower gas prices, which is going to lower food prices, which is going to lower, our living costs. We're just seeing the effects of that today with OPEC. So
that's beautiful. Another W sounds like.
Yep. But you remember oil prices fell during Trump's presidency, almost like it went to negative, where people were paying people to take oil. Trump went and said, how about we fill up the strategic oil reserve? And Democrats blocked him just because they block whatever Trump does. So oil's almost free. Trump says, let's take that for the National Oil Reserve. Democrats say no. Biden gets in, cuts off oil production, makes energy really expensive with his carbon neutral bullshit, and depletes the oil reserve basically to try to win the election by bringing down the cost of oil and gas and slow down inflation. And now we have oil reserves that are so critically low. I guess it might even basically it's going to be a lot to fill that back up. And it looks like we're going to have a chance to fill it back up for way cheaper, though, I think.
Good. Yeah. And I'm sure it'll probably work out great.
Yep.
Well, Garrett, we're almost ready to wrap up, actually.
Yeah. We have some cool AI stuff. I
think we should just show this kind of play out, maybe talk about it for a second. But I want to show this, okay?
We could rapid fire AI quick.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do this one, okay? Because... Listen to this. China built a robot with a human brain. Okay. They embedded it into a brain-on-chip system, combining neural tissue with silicon circuitry. And then even in this Twitter post, he goes on to ask, what counts as consciousness? Where's the line between tool and entity? And we talked about this on a show kind of recently.
I think we were both kind of against this.
I am against this. If we were using human brain cells, what kind of thing are you trapping in a, who knows what kind of hell?
And not only that, they're using an inferior product. We're going to have AI way smarter than any human being ever. And I don't think a brain is going to speed it up. I think if anything, it's eventually going to slow it down.
It might, though. And in fact, you know what? Imagine you got a super smart AI with no human brain cells at all, and then you put in 5,000 human brain cells. You still
might slow it down.
Yeah, but it might give it some thinking.
Maybe not. Yeah,
it might give it some kind of, I don't know,
out of the box
thinking that could help it.
True. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Either way, they're doing this with brain cells, and they shouldn't be. Okay, but I'm gonna play this 48 seconds here.
This robot is powered by lab-grown human brain cells. Chinese researchers have developed this brain-on-chip technology called MetaBOC. Researchers say that their tiny lab-grown brain could learn tasks faster than current AI models. They say it uses much less energy than AI, which needs a lot of power and data to learn. These brain cells also show more, quote, intuition and creativity than AI, learning with fewer examples. Could this
And the robots beg for death quicker.
Do you know what's dystopian about this too? Is they have to teach this thing. How they're teaching it is when it makes a wrong decision, they basically send a painful signal to it, and when it makes a good decision, they reward it. Basically,
oh my god,
it's like torturing this thing.
Oh my god, it's such a nightmare, dude.
It is.
If there's a conscious thinker in the human brain cells, I mean,
I don't know how
there
would it be.
Yeah, I don't either.
Would it be if you have brain cell that's actually responding to stimuli?
Yeah, there's just a little guy in there.
Yeah,
I mean, what a nightmare. But leave it to China to not give a shit, and I think it's scary. I don't want to be reincarnated as a Pong player. learning Pong, whatever. Oh God.
This be because some aspect of the human spirit is locked in these brain cells? And is there any moral issue with using human brain cells and possibly the human soul to power robots to perform slave-like behavior?
Yeah, there is. I mean, do you want to be a robot? You know?
What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my God.
This
great scene from Rick and Morty.
You know what? Let's rapid fire this AI as we're talking about it.
Okay, you've got some, and
you just go to the next clip I sent you, basically.
Okay, hang on.
Man, we're not getting into any of the Israel stuff today, it looks like.
Or Alberta.
Yeah, the Alberta stuff. God, we're leaving a lot on the table again.
Dude.
Just go back to the AI email.
That was from mine. That was my AI.
I know. We go to your email. It's way to the left.
Did you? Oh, you didn't send me it.
You know what? We'll just have to do it next show then.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, that's all right.
So I got some cool AI stuff for next show then.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Yeah, we should probably call it there then. I guess it was an hour and a half show.
Yep. We teased it. We teased the AI.
Yeah, we'll get more.
The Israel thing is timeless. We'll be able to do that one. It's gonna disappoint you why it's timeless. And the Alberta thing, I'm sure we could cover that next time too.
Yeah, just Canada going in the drain. Maybe Alberta will secede. Okay, thanks Kenobi.
All right, guys.
Thanks Box Bar, Jake, right?
Bar, Robert,
Miggles.
We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Yeah, had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. Truth bombs that many never knew. We talking politics, everything up to the moon. Was the landing real or fake? I guess you'll never know. Let's talk, this is the Nate and Garrett Show, yeah. So lend me your ear, let's get it poppin'. You know that we keep it live, non-stopping. Educating, entertain, there ain't no doubt. After you listen, you'll be thinking way outside the box. From media dishonesty, never let them play you. Keep it authentic nowadays, many can't do. Unfiltered is how we do it. Make sure you stay locked in and tuned in, let's go. Had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens.